This episode is adapted from a clinician-written article on Mentalyc and brought to life in audio for therapists who prefer listening on the go.
This piece was written by Adesua Olajayer, LCP, and we're really excited to bring their perspective into our conversation today.
Absolutely. And since the article comes from Mentalyc, it helps to know it's a platform designed to support therapists with the very real challenges of clinical documentation.
The very real, very heavy challenges. You know that feeling? It's Sunday night, the house is quiet, and instead of feeling rested for the week ahead, you're just staring at this mountain of progress notes you couldn't get to.
Oh, I know that feeling in my bones. The Sunday scaries hit different when they're accompanied by a stack of unfinished DAP notes. It's like this ghost that just follows you home from the office.
A ghost. That's exactly it. It's not just a task list, it's an emotional weight. I got into this field to connect with people, to be present in the room with them. And yet, I find myself spending so much mental energy, even when I'm with my family, worrying about whether I accurately captured the intervention for client 3B or if my treatment plan for 7A is compliant.
You just described paperwork burnout perfectly. It's that exact scenario where the passion that brought you into this work feels like it's being drowned by the administrative tide. It's not that we don't think documentation is important. We know it is. It's crucial for quality care, for tracking progress, for ethical practice.
Right. Of course. It's the golden thread. It's our clinical story. But when you have a high caseload, which so many of us do, the sheer volume is just staggering. It feels less like weaving a beautiful, coherent thread and more like I'm being tangled and suffocated by it.
That's a powerful metaphor, and it's so true. It's the cycle, right? High caseload leads to less time per note, which leads to notes piling up, which leads to stress and anxiety, which then makes it even harder to sit down and write the notes. And suddenly, you're procrastinating on the one thing that feels like it's already judging you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. The avoidance. I've become a master of what I call productive procrastination. I'll organize my bookshelf. I'll deep clean the office kitchen. I'll do literally anything other than open that client's file and start typing. And the guilt that comes with that, it's just another layer of exhaustion.
It really is. And I think it's important to name that this isn't a personal failing. It's a systemic issue. The demands are immense. You have progress notes, treatment plans, insurance authorizations, compliance forms. It's an endless stream. I remember when I was newer in the field, I genuinely felt lost. I had the clinical skills, but nobody really prepares you for the sheer administrative reality of being a therapist.
That's it. That's the part that feels so isolating. You feel like you're the only one who can't keep up. You see your colleagues and they seem to have it all together, and you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why am I so slow? Why does this feel so hard for me?
And that's the beginning of what we can call documentation fatigue. It's a very real thing. It's that constant low-grade stress about the notes. It's not just a task anymore. It's a source of anxiety. Have you ever found yourself rushing through a note right before you leave for the day just to get it done?
Every day. And I hate it. I know I'm not doing the session justice. The notes become generic. I find myself using the same phrases over and over because my brain is just too tired to come up with something nuanced and specific. It feels like I'm creating a pale, washed-out version of the incredibly rich, vibrant, and complex work we actually did in the room.
And that has real consequences, doesn't it? Not just for our records, but for the quality of care. If our notes are generic, how well are we really tracking the treatment plan? Are we missing subtle shifts? Are we just checking boxes instead of engaging in deep clinical reflection through our writing?
That's the scary part. It starts to bleed into your personal life, too. I'm more irritable at home. I have trouble sleeping because my mind is racing, trying to write notes in my head. My partner will ask what's wrong, and I'll say, oh, just work. But it's not just work. It's this specific, nagging, relentless weight of unfinished documentation.
That sounds so hard. And it's so common. When that fatigue really sets in, it can even change how we show up for our clients. We might have less time for them because we're trying to squeeze in documentation between sessions. Or, and this is the one that really worries me, our empathy and compassion can start to feel strained.
Strained is a good word. It's like my empathy battery is at 10% by the end of the day, and I have nothing left for the notes, let alone for myself or my family. And I've noticed a shift in my attitude. I feel more frustrated with the system, more cynical. I've caught myself feeling a sense of detachment, which is terrifying for a therapist to admit.
It's terrifying, but it's also a vital warning sign. That detachment is a self-protective mechanism, right? Our psyche is trying to shield us from the overwhelm. But our job is connection. So when we start to detach, it's a red flag that we are deep in burnout territory. The enthusiasm for the work, the very thing that fuels us, starts to dim.
So what do we do? I mean, we have to do the notes. They're essential. They're legally and ethically required. We have to follow HIPAA. We have to justify treatment to insurance. We can't just not do them. How do we manage this without losing our minds or our passion?
Okay, so this is where we shift from the problem to the solution. And there are solutions. The first thing, and this sounds so simple, is to just acknowledge how hard it is and have some self-compassion. We're not robots. But from there, we can get practical. Let's talk strategies.
Please? I am all ears. I am ready for the strategies.
Okay. So one of the biggest game changers is moving away from the idea that every note has to be a brand new bespoke novel written from scratch. I'm talking about templates. And I know some people hear templates and they think generic, but that's not what I mean.
Okay. I've tried to make my own, but I never stick with them. They feel clunky. I spend more time fighting with the template than actually writing the note.
Right, and that's a common experience. But think about well-designed templates. Structured formats like SOAP notes or DAP or PIRP. They exist for a reason. They guide your thinking. They ensure you're hitting the key components without having to reinvent the wheel every single time. You can create your own for different common presentations like anxiety, depression, trauma. You have a framework, and then you just fill in the specific, unique details of that session.
That makes sense. So it's less about a rigid copy-paste thing and more about having a scaffold to build on. So you're not just staring at a blank page, which is the most intimidating thing in the world.
Exactly, a scaffold. I love that word for it. And you can even develop a repository of your own common phrases. We all have our go-to interventions, right? So instead of typing out utilized cognitive restructuring to challenge negative thought patterns related to their recent job loss, every single time you have a phrase like that ready to go, and you just plug in the specific trigger.
Oh, that's smart. Like for a presenting problem, you have client reports feeling anxious due to, and then you just fill in specific trigger. Or for a go, to reduce clients' anxiety symptoms. It seems so obvious, but I've never systemized it.
It's one of those things that feels obvious in hindsight. And for the intervention part, explored alternative coping mechanisms. For client response, client was able to identify number negative thoughts and reframe them. You're not making up the content, you're just streamlining the documentation of it. It saves so much mental energy.
Okay, that actually feels doable. It's about creating efficiency so you can spend your brain power on the clinical reflection, not on the sentence structure. But what about the tools for this? Am I just doing this in a Word doc? That feels like it could get messy.
Quick pause. If this part of the work feels familiar, Mentalyc can help. Its AI-powered note-taking automates progress notes and supports your clinical judgment while staying fully HIPAA and SOC 2 compliant. You can explore it at Mentalyc.com.
Okay, so that's a perfect lead-in. Let's talk about the tech side. Because a Word doc system is what I'm kind of doing now, and it's a disaster. It's just folders within folders of chaos.
The folder within a folder chaos, a classic. This is where leveraging technology can be the single biggest leap forward in combating burnout. We are clinicians, not professional typists. Our time is most valuable when we're with clients or when we're thinking clinically. It is not most valuable when we are typing.
Preach. So what does that look like in practice? I've heard about AI note takers, but I've always been a little skeptical. Is it secure? Does it sound like me? I have a particular way of writing notes, a certain clinical style. I don't want to sound like a robot.
That is the number one concern, and it's a valid one. The key is finding a tool that works for you, not one that replaces you. Think of it as a hyper-efficient, HIPAA-compliant assistant. With a tool like Mentalyc, for example, it's not about spitting out a generic note. It records and transcribes the session, with client consent, of course, that's non-negotiable, and then it structures that transcript into a clinical note format.
Whoa. Wait. So it takes the conversation and puts it into a SOAP note or a DAP note for me?
Exactly. It generates a structured draft, and here's the crucial part. You are still the clinician in charge. You don't just blindly accept it. You review it, you edit it, you refine it. You add your clinical insights, your interpretations. The difference is you're starting from a 90% finished draft instead of a 0% blank page. The time saved is immense.
I'm trying to even imagine that. The hours. I mean, I spend, 10, maybe 15 minutes per note? If I have 8 clients in a day, wow. That's 2 hours of notes a day. A day.
And it adds up. And think about the quality of your input when you're just refining versus when you're creating from scratch while exhausted. Your edits will be sharper, more insightful, because you're not bogged down in the basic transcription and structuring. You're operating at the top of your license, providing the clinical oversight. And you can customize it to fit your style. It learns your language.
Okay, that's cool. And the security part, you said it's HIPAA compliant? That's always my big worry with any new tech.
Absolutely. That's a non-starter if it's not. Tools designed for our field, like Mentalyc, are built with HIPAA guidelines at their core, using encryption and secure data practices. They understand our ethical and legal obligations. And there's another new feature that is just a chef's kiss. The ability to transfer your finished note directly to your EHR with a single click.
No, stop it. No more copy pasting? No more having 2 windows open and carefully highlighting and praying you don't miss a line.
No more copy pasting. Think about that little pocket of friction in your day. It seems small, but you do it 10 times a day, 5 days a week. That friction creates heat, and that heat is burnout. Removing that one little step is a huge quality of life improvement.
I can feel my shoulders dropping just thinking about that. It's amazing how these seemingly small administrative burdens create such a huge psychological load.
They do. And that brings us to another strategy, which is time management. It's not just about having the right tools, but about how we structure our day. Do you block out time for notes, or do you just hope to find it?
Mumbling, I'm mostly hope to find it. I laugh sheepishly. And I never find it. It's always a thing that gets pushed to the end of the day or to the weekend.
Smiles. You and every other therapist. But what if we treated documentation time as a secret, non-negotiable appointment? You put it in your calendar, 11 to 11:30 a.m., note completion. And you protect that time as fiercely as you would a client appointment. Have you ever heard of the Pomodoro technique?
Vaguely. Something about tomatoes and a timer?
Yes, exactly. The idea is you work in focused 25-minute intervals. You set a timer for 25 minutes and you do nothing but that one task. No email, no phone, no getting up for coffee, just notes. When the timer goes off,
you take a mandatory 5-minute break. Stretch, walk around, do something completely different. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break.
25 minutes. That actually feels manageable. The idea of sitting down for 2 hours of notes feels impossible, but I can do anything for 25 minutes. It breaks the monumental task down into bite-sized pieces.
Precisely. It hacks your brain's tendency to procrastinate on big, overwhelming tasks. It creates a rhythm of focused work and genuine rest. And that's the key here. This isn't just about being more efficient so you can cram more work in. It's about creating systems that respect your limits, protect your energy, and give you your life back.
Respect your limits. Wow. I don't think I've ever thought about my documentation process in those terms. I've only thought about it in terms of what's required, what's demanded of me, not what I need to do it sustainably.
And that is the core mindset shift. We're trained to hold space for others, but we are often terrible at setting boundaries around our own time and energy. Staying organized and consistent with paperwork isn't just about time management. It's an act of self-preservation. It's about deciding that you will not let the administrative side of this job hold your personal life hostage.
That really reframes it. It's not about being lazy or trying to get out of work. It's about being strategic so that I can be a better, more present clinician and a better, more present human in my own life.
Yes, and the last piece of this puzzle is knowing when to ask for help. We can't do it all alone, and we shouldn't have to. This can look like peer supervision groups where you can talk honestly about these struggles. Just knowing you're not alone is incredibly powerful.
That's so true. Every time I have a conversation like this one, I feel a sense of relief. It's like, oh, it's not just me.
Never just you. And help can also look like delegation. If you're in private practice, maybe you outsource your billing. Maybe you hire a virtual assistant for a few hours a week to handle scheduling and administrative tasks. The goal is to free up your time for the clinical work that only you can do.
It's about auditing your process, isn't it? Looking at your whole workflow and asking, what is the biggest time waster here? Where am I losing the most energy? Is it because my note template is clunky? Is it because I'm not using a tool to help me? Is it because I'm trying to do tasks that someone else could do?
You've got it. That's the first step. Audit your process with curiosity, not judgment, and then commit to changing one thing, just one. Maybe this week you're going to try the Pomodoro technique, or maybe you'll explore a structured note template, or maybe you'll sign up for the free trial of an AI scribe. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. That's just another recipe for overwhelm.
Okay, one thing. I can do one thing. This conversation, it feels like a weight is lifting. It's not that the work has disappeared, but the path through it feels clearer. It feels possible to do this work ethically and well without sacrificing my own well-being in the process.
That's the entire goal. It is absolutely possible. Your goal is clear, ethical, and timely notes. But the motto isn't perfection. The motto is consistency. It's about finding a rhythm that works for you, that respects your brain, and that ultimately gives you peace.
Find a rhythm that gives you peace. I think I'm going to write that on a sticky note and put it on my monitor. It's not about conquering the paperwork beast in one heroic battle. It's about taming it day by day with better systems and better boundaries.
Exactly. So, if you were to walk away from this conversation and do one thing today, what's a practical takeaway that feels manageable?
I think the first step for me is to actually look at my notes, to do that audit you mentioned. Am I writing too much? Am I being repetitive? And then I'm going to look at a structured note format, like one of the templates you mentioned, and see if I can create a simple scaffold for my most common client presentations, just to stop that blank page paralysis.
That is a fantastic, powerful first step. It's concrete, it's actionable, and it addresses the biggest point of friction. You're not just complaining about the problem, you're actively designing a solution for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am. It feels good to say that. It feels hopeful.
It is hopeful. This work is too important to let burnout win. If you want support creating those structured notes without starting from scratch, the AI note taker in Mentalyc can generate those DAP or SOAP drafts for you, giving you the perfect starting point to build from.